Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm just going to give it one more minute for people to get situated. All right, let's get started. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our second Shiji Buzz event. My name is Shannon Lippy, and I'm a Senior Marketing Manager here at Shiji. I will be your host today. We have a great discussion panel planned with three industry experts, Brett Smith, Angie Andreessen, and Bruno Martins. Brett, Angie, and Bruno will be sharing their thoughts about mobile technology in spas and golf courses. So we hope that you're able to gather some ideas and concepts to take back to your business. And then after the discussion, we'll open it up for Q&A if you guys have any questions. Brett, can you start us off by introducing yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Shannon. My relationship with Shiji started about in 2001, and Shiji was one of the fastest growing distributors for micros. They stood out really because of their strong leadership and their focus on customer success. So in 2018, I joined as the VP of Strategy and Product Management after being with micros for over 20 years. While I joined Shiji, Concept was being acquired. So we joined together. I was able to jump in and help Shiji and Concept with their outlook and direction. Through the process, we added more people, developed more talent. We doubled our development resources, and we scaled our products and services. So now you can see regional teams to sell, support, and service our customers globally. And having that local presence really starts to change the narrative, and we're becoming a global partner with our customers around the world. So after about 18 months, we took two significant releases to market. And those were really focused on latest technology, security, and an enormous amount of feature set that was really driven from the market. So we're very proud to see the progress, and we're looking forward to the future.
Great, thank you. Angie, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Angie Andreessen. I joined Shiji in 2018 after 14 years at Micros Oracle. Throughout my career, I've had the opportunity to work in various corners of the business, from installation, project and account management, to product management and strategy. My background has largely been in the food and beverage hospitality space in both hotels and restaurants. But since joining Shiji, I've also spent a lot of time working in the spa and golf industry as well. I think food and beverage, spa, and golf, they all exist for the same purpose, to serve guests and to provide them great experiences. And the technology needs have really become similar between the different verticals, and all of the three spaces really often exist in resort settings. So for me, it's been a very natural progression to widen my experience to include spa and golf.
Great, thank you. And Bruno?
Hi, Shannon. Thank you for having me on. My name is Bruno Martins. I've worked in golf and spa industry for over 20 years. Practically grew in the industry. Had my first contact with golf here in Portugal while working with Concept. Until then, never really played it. Was never interested in it, but actually fell in love with it as I got to know the business more. In the late 2000s, I was introduced to the spa market, and since then it's kind of been part of my day to day. A little bit like Angie, during these 20 years, I had the opportunity to work in multiple roles, from support, implementations, product management. After Shiji acquired the Concept, I took also the new role of senior product manager. So thanks again for having me.
Awesome, thank you all. So research recently commissioned by Crichton reveals that when traveling again, 80% of hotel guests would download a hotel app that would enable them to check in, check out, and get all the information they need about the hotel, which definitely shows the growing need for mobile and contactless technology within hotels. So looking at the spa market specifically, ISM has listed contactless booking as the second trend that they anticipate will continue significantly and will continue to be popular in 2021. So you all have obviously been in the hospitality industry for a while. Have you seen dramatic changes in the last 6 months? Angie, let's start with you.
Sure, Shannon. So I think it's really hard to answer this question without first reflecting on the times that we're in due to COVID. I think every corner of the hospitality world has gone through dramatic changes of closures, and to reopen, we all know they've been required to overhaul their operations and the services due to the new world we live in. How businesses are handling the impacts has really varied in each region of the world, and even each individual country and state. And as we all know, many global hotel chains have gone through furloughs and layoffs. We've all seen the Asia Pacific region being one of the first to experience the first stages of recovery. But in the rest of the world, we are starting to see the hotel chains opening 90% or more of their global properties. So that's refreshing, even if it is with reduced staff and occupancy at the start. I think attracting and servicing guests now, it really has to be approached differently because guests' top priorities have shifted to focus more on how safe they'll feel when dining in a restaurant, staying in a hotel, or relaxing in a spa. And while brand, price, and amenities, they're all still very important to guests, a share of each of these factors has really shifted to overall cleanliness of a property and the safety protocols that are put in place. So this just means guest choices are really now influenced differently. Safety and commitment to the customer is becoming more part of a brand than ever before. So for example, if you go out to book a room now at any major hotel chain, for sure, some of the first things that you're going to see are statements like commitment to clean, contactless service, flexible cancellation, and safety first. More so than ever, I think the hospitality industry has to have a guest first focus and approach when they're looking at redefining their services, their processes, and when choosing which technology to use to enhance the guest experience. Because with all of these shifting priorities in the guest's mind, they're really going to come to expect mobile technology to make their experience feel safer, and they'll be more accepting of it. So whether it's mobile check-in, digital keys, ordering food, providing payment, these are all technologies that have been around for years now, but the hospitality industry is really being driven to adopt everything contactless at an accelerated pace these days.
Yeah, and from a hospitality perspective, I can't tell you how many times I spoke to the benefit of cloud over, let's say, the last decade. And, we were always talking about how the cloud would see ROI, in the first year, second year, third year. But really, it's where the break-even point often is at the third year. And now I think we're looking at a condensed 12 to 18 months. I mean, so today, if you had on-premises technology, you had to keep staff to maintain them, or you have this really bad feeling in your stomach the moment you press the power on button, and you're hoping that the systems are connected and working. Our customers are now beginning their business recovery, and yet every one of them are challenged with the soft opening. Let it be a food and beverage outlet, and they're going to test to see how much velocity or sales volume they'll get, or it's how the spa will operate on really a small staff. So what's the challenge today is that you need to have it all working. Right, you can't do without the systems you're used to, and that interconnected on the property, and it's just for limited hours potentially. So stepping in with both feet with technology and maybe a toe with the sales and ops team is a challenge. So before the pandemic, the overhead and cost model grew with the business, meaning as you got busier, as you expanded outlets and so on and so forth, the technology cost grew with you. And for a little bit while longer, those on-premises customers are going to be a bit off balance. They need to turn it on just to start. With our cloud-based systems, we're always on and ready. New features, have been built during the recovery. So we're setting our customers up for success. And really, at the end of the day, you're going to see that those customers that have partnered and paired with solution providers that are willing and will contribute to their success. So cloud customers will focus on their business and how they operate, where on-premises customers will really be trying to figure out how their infrastructure will support the operations. It's really a reverse of where we want to be. So other changes that happened prior to the pandemic, our customers and really the market were embracing the online booking solutions, either for spa and golf. But through the pandemic, it's kind of become a 100% requirement from their guests. That shift was predictable, over the next year or two as more and more adopted, but now it's really a requirement. But that does turn out to be something that's a win-win. So when the staffing is really hard to actually to staff up during your toe-in soft openings, the good news is the online booking channels will actually basically set the labor aside, right? There's going to be done more online than with people. So that's a good success overall and a start. The hotel lodging associations, you can pick any one of them. They were really talking about over the last couple of months how we won't get back to full staffing employment in the industry until 2023. But the good news is we're really seeing a difference. So our customers are looking at planning their phase 2 and phase 3 approach seemingly well ahead of the industry analysts. So that is good news. But the dramatic changes, I think they were a lot footed early, before the pandemic, but now they're becoming a requirement more and more.
Mm-hmm. So, Bruno, how have you seen spas and golf courses specifically evolve over the last 6 months?
Well, Shannon, Brett kind of pointed out some of the I guess the changes that we have been talking so far. I mean, there's certainly been a tremendous focus on making the guests feel safe and comfortable when coming for their golf round or their spa service. What we're seeing is that operations are working really, really hard on ensuring the guest stays focused on the experience and feels safe during it, right? One of the things that is definitely most interesting is a quick check-in, right? We want to make sure that a person that's coming for a golf round or a spa appointment gets to their location as soon as possible. So with this in mind, what operations have really evolved their processes, right? They're putting more focus on guest online bookings and payment to again facilitate and make sure that when guests come into the property, they can expedite and go to their activities. Now, in the case of golf, for example, offering online check-in can be a real bonus, as the golfer can potentially go straight to the tee, right? For spas, as we know, that is a lot more complex because technically with spas, you always have things like health questionnaires that need to be populated. But just by adding some of these measures that I referred, we are already limiting the time the guest stays in these common areas, such as reception areas or relaxation areas in the case of spa.
So spas are obviously built around human touch. So I imagine with COVID-19, it's been very difficult for spas to operate with all of the health and safety measures that have been put in place. So what can spas do to really create better experiences, and how does technology play a part in this?
I'll take that one first, Shannon. Guests, as Bruno was saying, guests really come to a spa to relax, and the success of that has everything to do with their experience. And really, that experience, it begins as soon as they book their appointment. So beyond telling the guests about the new safety and cleaning protocols, a spa can make a guest feel more comfortable by telling them up front even what their interaction is going to be when they arrive at the spa. So by limiting capacity and staggering booking times, you're already going to reduce your chances of your guests bumping into each other. But if you even go a step further and give them some early and some timely communication, you can help ensure that a guest really spends limited time in the public spaces. And this is where I think technology can come in and help. It can start with sending check-in instructions in a welcome email when the guest first books their appointment. And in that email, you can let the guest know that they'll receive a text at their appointment time when their therapist is ready to take them to their treatment room. And then in the privacy of a treatment room, this is where you can check in the guest and have any consultation forms be signed there. And this way, you're ultimately lessening their time spent in public spaces, reducing their time to interact with other guests, and really letting them more easily relax in the comfort of a private space.
Yeah. And if I can pitch in, I mean, I would certainly say that these are difficult times for the industry, but I actually also see it as an opportunity for spas to become more efficient and even upsell some certain services, right? So technology certainly plays a big part in ensuring the guest feels safe and focused on the experience as we've been discussing here today. But for example, Concept Spa allows managers to preset appointments, the agenda to include additional time for preparation and cleanup time. So that goes certainly towards making the experience more safe, right? If we want to take this one step forward, we can even probably set appointments with additional blocks to allow for that buffer between the guests, to stop guests from actually crossing paths in those relaxation areas or reception areas. One of the things that you touched upon is the being able to serve the guest while in the actual private space, booking appointments for any follow-up appointments. Having that in place is not only an upsell opportunity, but again, ensures the guest that does not have to go back to a reception area to complete his booking. There's even opportunities in things like fitness classes, right? It's a potential upsell opportunity. Maybe the spa has members or regular guests that come to the spa for their Monday morning yoga. Why not provide the ability for them to enroll into that particular class, so the only thing they have to do is actually come to the spa and enjoy the actual class. They don't have to go back in again and repeat the booking. So having those features in place, those processes in place, to limiting the time that the guest stays in reception areas, but actually focus on the technical activities, is actually key.
So this might be a difficult question, but how does the industry recover from this period?
I can take that, Shannon. So I think we've kind of already spoke a lot about that today. Certainly, employee training is important, making sure teams are prepared to use technology in a way that it helps the actual guest and helps them feel safe. Having a user-friendly online platform for booking is also important, not just as a means to promote for the guests to book and pay and cancel online, but also as a means to promote their businesses, right? A strong online presence certainly is one of the ways we can recover, industries can recover. Together with this, guest communication, interaction with the guest, it's also key, right? It's actually one of the focuses on our latest major release, where we introduce things like notifications. Again, great vehicle for promoting the business. On a slightly more technical sense, right? So Brett already mentioned about SaaS and so on. Those customers who have, or those properties who have adapted to the SaaS cloud, will be better prepared to receive updates. You probably will ask why, right? Because of ever-changing regulations, guest engagement protocols will change. Obviously, COVID is a good example of a change in the guest protocol. If you're on SaaS, you will receive updates much quicker, right? It will always be seamless to you. Overall, the dependency on technology shifts from your highly skilled employees being on property, doing activities such as bookings, to actually guests booking online, right? So there's a shift in that sense.
That's right.
Yeah.
So are the same problems seen in golf courses? We've talked a lot about spas, so I want to see how that compares with golf.
Yeah, so I think, golf has been impacted by COVID, but very differently than spas. So, golf is a naturally socially distanced activity. In many areas of the world, it's been one of the only activities that's even been allowed to remain open for periods of time, depending on where you live. But when golf courses have reopened, they've seen a dramatic increase in bookings. I know in the US, for example, golf has experienced the largest year-over-year growth in rounds played ever recorded. And we're seeing new players come to the game, and we're also seeing golfers investing in their game, with proof of golf equipment sales have also hit all-time highs. So I think the future is bright in the recovery of golf. So like spas, as golfers come back to the course, they're really going to be more comfortable with courses that give them a sense of safety and let them focus on the game and relax rather than our new protocols in life. And operations and running a course, it's certainly changed because there's more controls to put in place, even around how the game is played. So it just means more communications required upfront to make sure that the players are set up for a safe and an enjoyable game.
Yeah, I mean, you can see contactless is just a reoccurring theme in just navigating the safety protocols. You still need to book tee times and rentals, even staggering the tee time starts. All of that actually needs a high degree of communication and setting expectations. The tee time starts, if it's a 2-ball or 4-ball makes a difference. And then you're really trying to rebook, change, and adapt. to get really the most rounds in a day. So adjusting the tee times, maximizing a player's availability is key. When thinking about the new rules, they do need, and it's really aligned with the spa discussion we just had. They need to set the expectation so when they arrive. So rather than sending the players to the pro shop to check in, they need to be met with a starter with mobile access to the tee sheet and check them in at the first hole. So as you said, the golf industry has really fared better than most. Certainly, there's pockets where they haven't, and certainly there's pockets where they've exceeded their expectations. But we see it as really a ton of opportunity to welcome the players back in a safe manner.
Yeah, Brett, if I can supplement on a little bit of what you've said. I mean, we've been working here at Shiji. We've been working on addressing a lot of the problems that we have been discussing today. And I would like to take this opportunity also to give a sneak peek of our latest product.
Bruno, are you sure you want to do that? It's still a little secret.
Yeah, it's okay. I think it'll be a good teaser for
okay.
everybody to know what we're working on and how we are faring. So let's go, and I will share my browser. Hopefully, it should be fine for you. So the product is Concept Web Client. We believe that hopefully you guys are seeing my screen. You can confirm if you are. It is what we believe a really good tool, not only for the golf manager, and Brett was talking a little bit about the scenario of the golf starter, which we certainly catered for, but also from a spa manager perspective, right? Other personas as well can benefit from this particular product, such as as a golf starter, spa therapist, and fitness instructor. So we've been discussing this need to obviously maintain social distancing, maintaining that is actually safe for your golfers or for your people attending the spa. So take, for example, here our golf planner. I had actually set up a good example of something can happen on the property, right? We're currently looking at our daily view, and we actually have a tour operator slot here, which actually falls, if you will, on the same hour in both first tee and 10th tee. So with our golf planner, operations can very quickly check where these scenarios can occur. And if need to, we can actually drag and drop the time for the relevant slots we want to actually book. We are even providing users with multiple options so that if you do want to book it later, you can even do so, right? If there's adjustments to be made for the booking, maybe even adding a golf buggy, the operator can do so then. So it's quite simple to actually drag and drop those particular bookings. If we are looking for more of a higher view of the course, we can always use our weekly view. Okay, so if we, as a golf manager, if I wanted to check how my course is doing, if I'm having any challenges with occupancy, I can do so. Okay, so take for example our very busy time here of 15:54. So if the golf manager wants to make the adjustments and make sure that maybe some of these players start later, we can do so, right? We even transfer if we wanted to a separate date. If we want to actually move this booking to a later date, for example, we can obviously accommodate that and follow the same principle as before. So this specific area is a great tool to not only find what is your view of the day or the week, but again, it is also a good and clean way to find out if there are in fact social distancing is being respected, if you will, in terms of bookings. We also have the possibility of adding actually blocks on the planner to actually make that simpler for the view. Now, for those of you who are more, I would say, familiar with golf, this is not this particular tool, as I said, is not only useful for the golf manager or the person behind the counter in golf reception. It's also useful for the starter, right? The starter can very clearly see who's coming into play on that particular day. So they can use this as a means to validate who's actually joining the course. If you're a ranger on the course and you're concerned with pace of play, you can, as long as you have access to the application, since it's browser-based, you can very simply see what is the actual time of both the front nine and the second nine and control the pace of play. If you are maybe again a starter or a caddy master, and maybe your member is hopping onto the golf course and has forgotten to rent a buggy, or maybe even requires a trolley, at a very simple click of drag and drop, you can actually move and add a buggy or a cart for your tea time. So the idea here is that this tool is not only for our for your typical personas, if you will, such as your golf managers or your golf receptionists, but it's for much more. It provides mobility to the operation. As I said, not limited to golf. We also have functionality and resolve problems around the spa from a planner perspective in the spa. So from in golf, we had the weekly versus day view. In the spa, we have either a staff view, which we are currently observing now, and we also have a location view where we can have a clear idea of what is being used in terms of spa. So spa managers overall can actually view the occupancy and again make those decisions. Where should I actually start this booking later? Should I have a block on my appointment books to limit that social distancing? You can do so using the staff, or as I've mentioned throughout the discussion, you can even put explicit blocks on the reservations themselves. In my case, I have maintenance, but the user can name these extra cleanup time, social distancing, literally however the user sees fit. Again, great tool to ensure we can not only manage the spa, but also make it as safe as can be. Now, like golf, the activities planner in the product in question is not limited just to your typical spa personas of spa reception or spa manager. Fitness instructors, again, can also benefit from this, still in the context of, for example, COVID. As we've been discussing here today, we want to limit the amount of time that users or guests actually stay in the reception area. So in the case of fitness classes, we can potentially direct the guests straight to the actual fitness class, okay? By using our front desk, our instructor can very quickly search for his class. So in this case, instructor is doing a CrossFit class. The list will be filtered out. You'll have clear visibility of who are the participants that are coming for the class. And should he or she wish to, you can very quickly register the activity and mark the attendance. So again, it is a very flexible tool which covers problems not only in golf, but also in spa. We feel that it's actually a very powerful tool that is also a great way to assist in solving problems. So that was a sneak peek at our latest products.
Great, that was awesome, Bruno. Thank you for showing us that.
Thank you.
So how can spas and golf courses increase the number and quality of online reservations that they receive?
So Shannon, for online, I think from a spa perspective, there's really an opportunity for spas to reevaluate their offerings and even their target market. Having a very diverse offering is really going to be vital for spas in 2021. So in addition to traditional therapies, there should be consideration for adding some low-touch treatment options to the menu, because this can really help attract those guests that want to relax but are still risk averse to traditional therapies. I think 2021 is also going to have people remaining local to their home. So people will be looking toward what is available to them locally for entertainment and relaxation. So hotel and resort spas can use their online bookings and look to attract those non-stay guests with day packages or quick escapes. It's really just a great opportunity to promote local vacations for either a day at the spa or even packaged with an overnight stay.
You know, Angie, in my opinion, there are a couple of strategies that both spa and golf can certainly implement. I strongly believe that membership is key to both markets, right? Operations should focus on identifying and reaching out to those local visitors, right? Again, the gentleman who comes to yoga every Saturday morning, or the lady who has her tennis lesson every Monday morning, and promotes membership offerings specific towards those people, right? Build specific membership programs with incentives in these scenarios. Maybe even promote other activities that may not be so exposed, such as golf lessons, fitness lessons, any other activities. Again, All of this really contributes to member retention and obviously getting that extra business from locals, if you will. Now, if we look at particularly to golf, right? I strongly feel that encouraging guests to book online and book early, right? And compensating them if they do, maybe with a better rates if you book ahead. Why compensate them? Technically, it's in the best interest of the course to know who's coming as early as possible, so that again they can account for extra cleanup times and so on. Now, golf managers can even make use of our yield management to automate these rates based on how far ahead you are making these bookings and how occupied the course is. You touched on packages. Completely agree. Offering package options, right? Certainly for golf, things like multi-day packages can be very interesting for guests. The same goes for things like your typical 2 rounds and a cart package. These generally are at low rates and are very interesting for the guests.
Yep. And throughout this talk, we spoke about a lot of new ways to do business and adapting. Yet some things are really not so different. There's several parallels that we can make with hotel room business, right? You still need to get the best prices for the products and services. And hotels deploy a revenue management system to do that. And Bruno started to talk about it. In golf bookings, yield management really does automate the price flexing that, calculates against demand and availability and brings the highest yield per round while protecting your brand value. The quality bookings often mean best price, right? On the flip side, many courses are also becoming overexposed to the online booking agencies or the tour operator. What that turns out to be is a bartering arrangement and potentially watered down pricing. I say overexposed because they're necessary. They bring in revenue, but on the flip side, you need to carefully look at your channel management. When your tour operator doesn't bring in the guest profile information, and you can even see that in Bruno's demo where you had my tour operator and golf breaks in there. That's not to segment out and say that's a bad thing, but you really do have a little bit of a blinder who your guests are, and then also how can you get their repeat business if you don't have their contact information. So moving booking traffic to your property website and take it direct will also increase those quality bookings.
Awesome. Well, that was a great discussion, guys. I really thank you all for sharing your insights. I found it really interesting. So I'm actually going to open it up now to our attendees for a Q&A. So if you have a question, you can send it to us through the chat, and I will read them out for the team to answer. So, first question I have here, do you provide local language per country?
Which one? Bruno, why don't you
I can take that. So why don't I answer that?
Sure.
That is certainly the plan, right? Its first iteration. It will be in English, but the localization is certainly something that we are considering. The technical capability is there to translate the application, but it's, as I said, as we grow the product, it will certainly accommodate for more local languages other than English.
So I think that maybe the question was broader, and maybe William can tell us, but the overall product is translated into, I think it's over 12 languages. You're specifically talking about the new product, the web client that you just showed.
That's correct. That is correct.
Great. And who do you partner with for online booking?
We are currently partners with quite a number of tour operators, especially for golf, certainly golf breaks, Your Golf Travel, Play More Golf, leading courses here in Europe. More recently, we've also embarked on a project with spa breaks, which is something new for us. Okay.
And do you provide inventory management for both pro shops and spas?
We certainly do. Even though it's not part of our core competency, definitely the application does come with its own point of sale and inventory for pro shops.
Let me add to that. We have multiple inventory locations. We can we handle all the size, colors, and dimensions of retail. So if you're selling comfy blankets at the spa reception, we can handle that as well as the shoe sizes, colors, and so on. So we do have a formidable retail system, and we also partner.
Yeah. And to supplement even more, we also do professional stock for services, which is interesting for some spa operations as well. Yep.
Great. And I have excuse me, I have another one here. Is there any thought to be able to read an RFID wristband to identify a guest and facilitate check-in for spa or golf?
Great question, Steve. As you know, RFID can be emulated in a number of different ways. I think the keyboard entry type device would be the avenue we'd look at. But we can certainly take a look at it for sure. It's not really a far reach.
Yep.
It's good to see you on the panel.
Yeah, that was a really great question. I have another one here. Since Concept is now part of Shiji, are there any synergies between the different Shiji products with Concept that we can see now, or is that planned?
Yeah, so let me answer that a little bit. So looking over the overall Shiji portfolio, you can see a number of different things. First is, yes, we're happy to see Concept as part of the family of products, and we'll be advancing inside of our portfolio. There's several middlewares that we have as Shiji assets, some that handle our fiscal demand in the different countries, some that are payments, right? So we have our payment gateway and tokenization service. Just recently, our latest release attached to our payment system. So, the Shiji core team doesn't really have to think about payments to get into a new country. We depend on our middleware. But you'll see that across the board. What Bruno showed in the latest product is actually an adaptation of our Shiji Enterprise platform. So you can see the motion towards our Shiji Enterprise platform as being that center of our hub in the long run. But ultimately, you'll see our connectedness between, if it's MyCheck for mobile, if it's our reputation management with Review Pro, Infosys with POS, all of those things are assets just really to broaden and contribute to our hotel and resort customers, right? We want to see them succeed. And for sure, when they're connected completely, it's going to be an amazing solution for both your guests and your business.
And I think this is our last question. Will you enable purchasing integration as well for inventory replenishment?
Ooh, it's an interesting question. That's, as I said, we currently already have functionality to manage the entire life cycle of purchasing and receiving. We would obviously need to look at the requirements look at the requirements, but it's certainly something we can obviously review at a later stage. As I said, completely self-contained inside Concept. We can manage everything from your vendor database, and Brett talked about colors and sizes and all that. Certainly cover ordering, receiving, inventories, printing barcode labels, doing your usual stock count at the end of the month. So we cover all of that at the moment.
Yeah, I think we for inventory, we go to market booking spa, golf, and activities, but the supporting functions are still there. We didn't mention membership, right? And we didn't there's a lot of supporting modules underneath just those two booking agents.
Great. All right. Are there any other questions? Okay, I don't think so. So it looks like we are out of questions for today. So I'm going to close the event. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. We hope that this was valuable and you learned a lot and were able to gather some good insights and ideas to take back to your operation. So we hope to see you again at the next Shiji Buzz event, which will be in a couple months. Again, thank you again for joining us and have a great rest of the day.
Thanks for hosting, Shannon. It was great.
Thank you.